The Ocean Between Stars. A Sci-Fi Story. Part 1. The stars were moving, not drifting, not wheeling in their slow galactic arcs, but flowing, pulled in a single direction like glittering plankton caught in a tide. Captain Lyra Vance watched them streak past the viewport in impossible silence, each point of light bending as if space itself had become liquid. The ISS Horizon's wake groaned under the strain. Metal complained in long, low tones that vibrated through the deck plates like the hull was being bowed by a deep-sea pressure it was never meant to endure. "Velocity is increasing again," said Aryan, the ship's navigator. His voice was steady, but his knuckles were white on the console. "We're not under thrust. The current is doing all of it." Lyra didn't answer. She couldn't. Her throat was tight, her mind struggling to reconcile what she saw. Space was not empty. It was full, filled with a shimmering, translucent medium that refracted starlight into ribbons of color. It clung to the hull like a luminous fog, swirling in eddies and vortices that responded to their presence. The ship was no longer flying through vacuum. It was drifting, and they were not alone. A shadow passed across the viewport, vast, slow, and graceful. A creature the size of a moon glided through the cosmic fluid, its body translucent like living glass. Internal organs glowed faintly, pulsing with bioluminescent rhythms. Tendrils trailed behind it, stirring the medium into spirals. It didn't notice them, or perhaps it did and simply didn't care. "Captain," whispered Dr. Senka Rao, xenobiologist. "We are inside something's circulatory system." Lyra tore her eyes from the creature. "Explain." Senka swallowed. "This fluid, its composition, its density, the way it refracts light, it's not a nebula. It's not plasma. It's hemolymph, or something analogous, a biological medium. And those creatures—" "Fish," Aryan muttered. "Not fish," Senka corrected. "Cells, immune cells, or symbiotic organisms. We're inside a bloodstream." Lyra stared at her. "A bloodstream the size of a star cluster." Senka nodded once. "Yes." Another shadow passed them, this one larger. Much larger. Its body spanned kilometers, maybe tens of kilometers, its movements slow and ponderous. It drifted past like a drifting whale in a cosmic sea. The ship shuddered as the current intensified. "We're being pulled toward something," Aryan said. "Something massive." Lyra steadied herself. "Massive as in?" Aryan didn't look up. "As in, gravitational influence equivalent to a small galaxy." Silence fell. Not the silence of space, but the silence of realization. The shimmering medium outside thickened, its glow deepening from pale blue to a rich, pulsing violet. The stars beyond it blurred, distorted by the density of the fluid. Lyra felt the ship tilt as the current shifted direction. "We need to break free," she said. "Fire maneuvering thrusters. Full burn." Aryan hesitated. "Captain, if this is a biological system, we might be inside a vessel. A vein? Or an artery. If we fire thrusters, we're already being dragged toward something that could crush us like dust," Lyra snapped. "Burn." Aryan obeyed. The ship vibrated violently as the thrusters ignited, pushing against the current. The shimmering fluid churned, swirling around the hull in iridescent waves. For a moment they slowed. For a moment Lyra dared to hope. Then the current surged. The ship lurched forward, thrusters screaming in protest. The fluid thickened further, glowing with internal currents that pulsed like a heartbeat. Senka's eyes widened. "Captain, I think we're approaching the heart." The pulse. The ship accelerated again, pulled deeper into the cosmic ocean. The fluid outside brightened with each passing second, its glow synchronized with a distant, rhythmic thrum. A heartbeat so vast it echoed through light years. Lyra gripped the railing as the deck tilted again. "Aryan status. We're losing control. The current is overriding all thrust. It's like trying to swim against a planetary riptide." "Life support?" Lyra asked. "Holding," said Chief Engineer Mara Holt. "But the hull is under stress." If the density increases much more, we'll start taking structural damage. Senka pressed her face close to the viewport. Look! Ahead, the fluid parted around a massive structure, an enormous translucent wall that stretched beyond sight in every direction. It pulsed with light, contracting and expanding in slow, powerful waves. A heart chamber, a heart the size of a galaxy. The ship was being drawn toward an opening, an orifice that dilated with each pulse, pulling the cosmic ocean through it in a colossal circulatory cycle. We're going inside, Aryan whispered. Lyra's voice was steady. Not if I can help it. She turned to Mara. Options. Mara hesitated. We could overload the reactor and create a shockwave. It might push us sideways out of the current. Or it might rupture the hull, Aryan said. Or it might irritate the organism, Senka added. We don't know how it reacts to foreign bodies. Lyra exhaled slowly. We need data. Senka, what are we dealing with? Senka tore her gaze from the pulsing wall. This organism, it's not just large, it's cosmically large. Its scale is beyond anything biology should allow. Galaxies might be its cells. Star systems might be organelles. We're inside a structure that spans light years. And we're heading toward its heart, Aryan said. No, Senka corrected softly. Not its heart. One of its hearts. A being this size would need multiple circulatory hubs. Lyra felt a chill crawl down her spine. How do we survive this? She asked. Senka didn't answer. The Leviathan. The ship passed through the dilating orifice. The fluid accelerated, rushing into the chamber in a torrent of shimmering light. The horizon's wake spun, stabilizers struggling to compensate. The interior of the chamber was vast, so vast that Lyra felt her mind rebel at the scale. The walls were translucent, glowing with internal currents. Massive structures, valves, tendons, biological machinery, moved in slow, deliberate rhythms. And then they saw it. A creature drifted through the chamber. Larger than the others, its body spanning hundreds of kilometers. It moved with purpose, its tendrils probing the fluid, sensing, searching. Senka inhaled sharply. That's not a cell. That's an immune sentinel. Aryan paled. Meaning it detects intruders, Senka said, and eliminates them. The creature turned. Its body glowed with shifting colors, patterns rippling across its surface like neural signals. It moved toward them. Slowly, inevitably. Lyra's voice was calm. Aryan. Evasive maneuvers. We're still in the current, he said. I can't. The creature accelerated. The fluid around it churned, forming a vortex that pulled the ship toward it. Mara shouted, hull stress rising. If that thing touches us. Brace, Lyra ordered. The sentinel closed the distance with terrifying speed. His tendrils unfurled. And then, a shockwave rippled through the chamber. The sentinel recoiled, its body flashing bright white. The fluid surged in the opposite direction, pulling the ship away from the creature. What was that? Aryan gasped. Senka stared at the chamber walls. A heartbeat. The pressure wave from the contraction. Lyra steadied herself. So the heart saved us. For now, Senka said. The realization. The ship drifted deeper into the chamber, carried by the pulsing currents. The sentinel followed at a distance, its movements cautious now, as if waiting for the next pulse. Lyra turned to Senka. You said galaxies might be cells. Explain. Senka hesitated. It's a hypothesis, but the scale fits. The distribution of mass, the density of the medium, the gravitational anomalies we detected before entering the ocean. It all suggests we're inside a being whose body spans intergalactic distances. Aryan shook his head. That's impossible. So is what we're seeing, Senka replied. Lyra felt the weight of it settle over her. A being so large that star clusters were microscopic structures. A being so vast that entire galaxies drifted through its bloodstream like motes of dust. A being alive. And they were inside it. What does it want? Aryan asked. Senka looked at him. I don't think it knows we exist. The current shifts. The chamber narrowed ahead, forming a massive biological conduit. The current intensified again, pulling the ship toward the narrowing passage. "We're entering an artery," Senka said. "Or an aorta," Aryan muttered. Mara checked her console. Hull stress at 70%. If the density increases any further, the ship lurched violently. A new current slammed into them from the side, spinning the vessel. The fluid outside darkened, swirling with particulate matter, microscopic structures that glowed faintly. Senka's eyes widened. Platelets? Or something like them. The particulate matter clumped together, forming massive, web-like structures that drifted through the fluid. One of them collided with the hull. The ship shuddered. "Hull breach in Section C," Mara shouted. "Sealing bulkheads." Lyra gripped the railing. "Aryan, get us out of this field." "I'm trying." Another web-like structure drifted toward them, its filaments glowing with internal energy. Senka whispered, "They're clotting agents. The organism thinks we're damage." Lyra's blood ran cold. "Meaning it's trying to repair us. Meaning it's trying to absorb us," Senka corrected. The web closed in. Aryan shouted, "Hold on." The ship plunged into the glowing structure. Part 2. The ship plunged into the glowing web. Filaments scraped across the hull with a sound like cracking ice, though no sound should have carried in the dense medium. The horizon's wake spun, caught in the sticky lattice. Lights flickered. Bulkheads groaned. The ship's frame bent under forces it was never designed to endure. "Structural integrity at 53%, Mara shouted. "If we stay in this clotting mass, we're done." The web tightened. The filaments pulsed with internal light, amber, then red, then a deep, ominous violet. Senka stared at the shifting colors, her voice barely audible. "It's analyzing us." Lyra steadied herself against the console. "Aryan, reverse thrusters. Burn us free." "We're not moving," he said. "The web is absorbing the thrust." The filaments tightened again. A deep vibration rolled through the ship, like the growl of something ancient and displeased. Senka whispered, "It's preparing to break us down." Lyra's pulse quickened. "Mara, options." Mara's fingers flew across her console. "We can overload the shield emitters. Create a resonance pulse. It might disrupt the filaments long enough to break free. Or it might tear the hull apart," Aryan said. "Or it might trigger an immune response," Senka added. Lyra exhaled slowly. "Do it." Mara hesitated only a moment before initiating the overload sequence. The lights dimmed. The hum of the reactor deepened into a low, throbbing rumble. "Pulse in 3, 2, 1. The ship exploded with light. A shockwave rippled outward, tearing through the web. Filaments snapped like overstretched tendons. The glowing lattice dissolved into drifting fragments. The ship lurched free. Aryan seized control, firing maneuvering thrusters to stabilize their spin. The horizon's wake drifted into a clearer region of the fluid, the density thinning enough for the hull to stop screaming. Lyra let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. "Status." Mara scanned her readouts. Hull integrity at 49%. Shields offline. Reactor stable but strained. "We can keep moving, but we're fragile," Aryan added, "and we're still in the current. It's pulling us deeper." Senka stared out the viewport. "We've triggered an immune reaction. The sentinel will return." As if summoned by her words, a shadow passed overhead. The sentinel. Its bioluminescent patterns had changed, no longer exploratory but aggressive. Its tendrils unfurled like spears. "It knows we're hostile," Senka said. Lyra's jaw tightened. "Then we outrun it." The arterial descent. The current accelerated, pulling them toward a narrowing conduit. The walls glowed with rhythmic pulses, each contraction sending waves of pressure through the fluid. Aryan's voice was tight. "We're entering a high-velocity channel, a major artery." The ship vibrated violently as the current intensified. The fluid outside shifted from violet to a deep, pulsing crimson. Senka's eyes widened. This is oxygenated flow. We're moving toward a metabolic hub. A heart? Aryan asked. No, Senka said. Something more complex. Something central. The sentinel followed, gliding effortlessly through the current. Its tendrils sliced through the fluid with predatory grace. It's gaining, Aryan said. Lyra steadied herself. Mara, can we boost speed? Not without tearing the hull apart. The sentinel closed the distance. Its tendrils glowed with internal energy. Charged, ready to strike. Senka whispered, It's preparing to neutralize us. Lyra made her decision. Aryan, hard starboard. Use the current. Aryan didn't question her. He angled the ship sharply, letting the current catch the hull like a sail. The horizon's wake shot sideways, skimming along the arterial wall. The sentinel lunged. Its tendrils missed the ship by meters, slicing through the fluid with lethal force. Lyra felt the deck tilt as the ship banked again, riding the turbulent flow. Aryan grinned despite the terror. We can't outrun it, but we can outmaneuver it. The sentinel lunged again. This time it struck the arterial wall. The impact sent a shockwave through the fluid. The wall pulsed violently, contracting in a defensive reflex. The current surged, accelerating the ship forward. The sentinel was thrown backward, caught in the turbulence. Senka exhaled. The organism's own reflexes are helping us. Lyra nodded. Then we use them. The metabolic sea. The artery widened abruptly, opening into a vast chamber filled with swirling currents of luminous fluid. Structures floated within it, massive, translucent spheres that pulsed with internal light. Aryan stared. What are those? Senka's voice trembled with awe. Mitochondrial analogs, energy reactors. This chamber is a metabolic sea. The spheres drifted in slow, deliberate patterns, each one radiating heat and light. The fluid around them churned with chemical reactions on a cosmic scale. Mara checked her readings. Radiation levels rising. We can't stay here long. The sentinel emerged behind them, its body glowing with renewed intensity. It had recovered from the turbulence, and it was angry. Lyra pointed toward a cluster of drifting spheres. Aryan, take us between them. Aryan hesitated. That's a maze. One wrong move and we'll be vaporized. Then don't make a wrong move. The ship plunged into the cluster. The spheres loomed around them, each one radiating enough energy to power civilizations. The fluid crackled with chemical reactions, sending arcs of light across the hull. The sentinel followed. It moved with terrifying precision, weaving between the spheres with predatory grace. Senka whispered, It's adapted to this environment. We haven't. A sphere pulsed, releasing a burst of energy that sent shockwaves through the fluid. The ship spun, stabilizers struggling to compensate. Aryan gritted his teeth. We can't keep this up. Lyra scanned the chamber. There, a vent. A narrow conduit opened on the far side of the chamber, pulsing with rhythmic contractions. Aryan nodded. A metabolic outflow. Take us in, Lyra said. The ship shot toward the vent. The sentinel lunged after them. A sphere pulsed again, this time directly in the sentinel's path. The burst of energy struck the creature, sending it tumbling backward. Its bioluminescent patterns flickered erratically. Aryan didn't wait to see if it recovered. He plunged the ship into the vent. The vein of worlds. The conduit narrowed, then widened again into a long, straight channel. The fluid here was darker, thicker, filled with drifting particulate matter. Senka studied the particles. These are nutrient clusters, organic compounds. This vein distributes resources across the organism. Aryan frowned. Meaning we're being carried deeper into its body. Meaning we're being carried toward something important, Senka corrected. The current accelerated again. Mara checked her console. Hull integrity at 43%. We can't take another hit. Lyra nodded. Then we avoid one. The fluid ahead shimmered with faint light. Shadows drifted within it, massive shapes moving in slow, deliberate patterns. Aryan squinted. More immune cells? Senka shook her head. No, these are something else. The shapes grew clearer. They were enormous. Larger than the sentinel, larger than anything they had seen so far. Their bodies were elongated, serpentine, covered in translucent plates that glowed with internal energy. They moved with purpose, with intelligence. Lyra felt a chill. What are they? Senka's voice was barely audible. Neural carriers? Axonal transports? We're approaching a nervous system. Aryan paled. Meaning this organism can sense us. It already does, Senka said. One of the neural carriers turned toward them. Its body pulsed with light, patterns that rippled along its length like electrical signals. It's communicating, Senka whispered. Lyra steadied herself. What is it saying? Senka shook her head. I don't know. But it's not hostile. The carrier drifted closer. Its tendrils unfurled, not in aggression, but in curiosity. The ship slowed as the current weakened. The carrier approached until its glowing tendrils brushed the hull. A surge of energy rippled through the ship. Lights flickered. Consoles rebooted. Aryan shouted, "We're losing control." Mara's voice was strained. "It's interfacing with our systems." Senka pressed her hand to the viewport. "It's reading us. Learning us." Lyra felt the deck vibrate as the carrier's tendrils pulsed again. A voice filled the ship. Not a sound. A presence. A thought. You are small. You are harmless. You are lost. Lyra staggered. What was that? Senka's eyes were wide. It's communicating telepathically? Or through some kind of neural resonance. The presence returned. You are within me. You do not belong. You must leave. Aryan whispered. We'd love to. The presence pulsed again. I will show you the way. The carrier wrapped its tendrils around the ship. Gently, carefully. And then, it pulled them deeper. The mind of the Leviathan. The conduit widened into a vast chamber filled with branching neural pathways. Light pulsed along them in rhythmic waves, like thoughts traveling through a cosmic brain. The carrier guided the ship toward a central node, a massive structure that glowed with blinding intensity. Senka whispered, "This is a synaptic hub, a processing center." Lyra steadied herself. Why bring us here? The presence returned. To understand you. To know if you are threat. The ship drifted closer to the glowing node. Mara shouted, "Radiation levels spiking." Aryan added, "We can't get any closer." The carrier ignored them. Its tendrils tightened. The presence pulsed again. You are not threat. You are fragile. You are temporary. Lyra felt anger rise in her chest. We're not temporary. We're alive. All life is temporary. Even mine. The chamber trembled. The light within the node flickered. Senka gasped. It's dying. The presence dimmed. I am old. My body fails. The ocean between stars grows thin. Lyra's voice softened. Why bring us here? To ask. To know. Is there more? Beyond me? Lyra hesitated. Yes. There is an entire universe beyond you. The presence brightened. Then I am not alone. The chamber trembled again. The carrier released the ship. I will return you to the outer sea. You must leave before I sleep. The current surged. The ship was pulled backward, away from the node, away from the neural pathways back into the vein. The presence faded. Remember me. The ship accelerated. The fluid thinned. Light brightened. And then, they burst out of the vein. Part 3. The horizon's wake shot out of the vein like a stone from a sling. The shimmering fluid thinned around them, its glow fading from deep crimson to pale violet. The ship tumbled end over end, stabilizers whining as Aryan fought to regain control. Reactor holding, Mara said through clenched teeth. Barely. Senka pressed a hand to the viewport. We're leaving the inner body. The density is dropping. Lyra steadied herself. Aryan, can you level us? He didn't answer with words, only with action. The ship's spin slowed, then stopped. The horizon's wake drifted, battered but intact, in a calmer region of the cosmic ocean. Behind them, the vein pulsed once, then sealed shut like a closing wound. Senka exhaled. The organism is isolating the damaged region. It's protecting itself. Lyra nodded. And it's letting us go. But the relief was short-lived. A shadow moved in the distance. Then another. Then dozens. The sentinel had not returned alone. The immune swarm. Shapes emerged from the shimmering medium, sleek, translucent forms with glowing tendrils and pulsing cores. Smaller than the sentinel, but faster. More numerous. Coordinated. Aryan's voice was tight. Immune swarm. They're tracking us. Senka's eyes widened. They're responding to the neural carrier's signal. It marked us. Tagged us. Mara cursed under her breath. We're a contaminant. The swarm accelerated. Lyra's voice was steady. Aryan. Evasive pattern delta. He didn't hesitate. The ship banked sharply, cutting through the thinning fluid. The swarm followed, moving with terrifying precision. They're hurting us, Senka said. Toward what? Aryan asked. The answer came quickly. Ahead, the fluid darkened, shifting from violet to a deep, oily black. A region of turbulence churned within it, swirling like a whirlpool. Mara's eyes widened. That's not fluid. That's decay. Senka nodded grimly. A necrotic zone. Dead tissue. Aryan paled. They're pushing us into a wound. Lyra's jaw tightened. Not a wound. A disposal region. The swarm closed in. The ship plunged into the darkness. The graveyard sea. The fluid here was thick, sluggish, filled with drifting debris, broken filaments, decayed organic matter, fragments of creatures long dissolved. The glow was faint, sickly, like dying embers. The ship slowed to a crawl. Aryan slammed the controls. We're losing propulsion. The medium is too dense. Mara checked her console. Reactor output is stable, but the thrusters can't push through this sludge. Senka stared into the darkness. This is where the organism sends dead cells. Waste. Foreign bodies. Things it can't repair. Lyra's voice was quiet. Things it wants to forget. The swarm stopped at the edge of the necrotic zone. They did not enter. They simply watched. Waiting. Aryan swallowed. They're not coming in after us. No, Senka said. They don't need to. The ship drifted deeper. Shapes loomed in the darkness. Massive, skeletal forms of creatures that had once swum through the cosmic ocean. Their translucent bodies had collapsed, leaving only faint outlines. Mara whispered, "How old is this thing?" Senka shook her head. "Older than our galaxy. Older than our universe, maybe." The ship shuddered. A current pulled them downward. Aryan fought it. "We're caught in a sink flow." Senka's voice trembled. "This is where the organism recycles matter. Breaks it down. Reabsorbs it." Lyra steadied herself. "We're not dying in here." Mara looked up. "Then we need power. More than the reactor can give." Lyra turned to Senka. "The neural carrier said the organism is dying." Senka nodded. "Yes. Meaning its systems are failing." "Yes. Meaning there are weak points." Senka's eyes widened. "Captain, you're not suggesting." "We find one," Lyra said, "and we break through." The failing pulse. The necrotic zone trembled. A deep vibration rolled through the fluid, like a heartbeat struggling to continue. The glow dimmed further. The current weakened, then surged unpredictably. Senka's voice was urgent. "The organism is entering a metabolic collapse. Its circulatory rhythm is destabilizing." Aryan frowned. Meaning everything is failing," Senka said, "including the barriers that keep this zone contained." The ship lurched as a shockwave rippled through the fluid. Mara shouted, "Hull integrity at 39%. Lyra steadied herself. "Aryan, head toward the turbulence." He blinked. "The turbulence? That's where the tissue is tearing." "Exactly," Lyra said. "A tear means an exit." Senka nodded slowly. "A breach in the organism's structure. A way out of the bloodstream." Aryan didn't argue. He pushed the ship forward. The fluid churned violently, swirling with decayed matter and collapsing structures. The glow flickered like dying starlight. Ahead, the darkness split open. A rift, a tear in the cosmic ocean. Light poured through it, bright, white, and impossibly distant. Aryan's voice cracked. That's vacuum. Real vacuum. Mara checked her readings. Pressure differential is enormous. If we hit that tear at the wrong angle. We won't, Lyra said. Aryan, line us up. The ship accelerated. The swarm watched from the edge of the necrotic zone, their bodies glowing with cold, clinical detachment. Senka whispered, "They're waiting to see if we die." Lyra didn't look back. "We're not giving them the satisfaction." The ship plunged toward the tear. The threshold. The rift widened as they approached, its edges pulsing with unstable energy. The fluid thinned rapidly, transitioning from sludge to shimmering mist. Aryan gritted his teeth. "Stabilizers failing." Mara shouted, "Hull integrity at 32%. Senka pressed her hand to the viewport. "The organism is collapsing. The tear is widening." Lyra's voice was steady. "Then we go now." The ship hit the threshold. The hull screamed. The fluid around them evaporated into nothingness. Light engulfed them. And then, silence. True silence. The horizon's wake drifted into open space. Stars glittered around them. Real stars, sharp and cold and distant. The cosmic ocean was gone. The shimmering fluid clung to the hull for a moment, then evaporated into the void. Aryan exhaled shakily. "We're out." Mara slumped in her chair. "Hull integrity at 29%. But we're alive." Senka stared at the stars. "We escaped a being the size of a universe." Lyra didn't speak. She was staring at something else. Behind them, the organism. The Leviathan revealed. It filled the sky, not as a shape but as a presence, an outline so vast it defied comprehension. Its body stretched across light years, glowing faintly with internal currents. Galaxies drifted within it like motes of dust. Nebulae swirled through its translucent form like clouds in a storm. It pulsed once. A slow, fading heartbeat. Senka whispered, "It's dying." The presence returned. Faint, distant. "You are free." Lyra closed her eyes. "Thank you. Remember me." The glow dimmed. The Leviathan's body began to dissolve, its structures collapsing into drifting clouds of cosmic dust. Stars flickered within it, then vanished as the organism's form unraveled. Aryan swallowed. "What happens now?" Senka stared at the dissolving titan. "Its body will become raw matter, fuel for new stars, new galaxies, new life." Mara nodded. "A cosmic cycle." Lyra watched as the Leviathan faded into starlight. "No," she said softly. "A cosmic legacy." The last pulse rippled through the void. The Leviathan slept, and did not wake. Epilogue: The ocean between stars. The horizon's wake drifted through open space, its hull scarred but intact. The crew worked in silence, repairing systems, recalibrating sensors, charting a course back to known space. Senka stood at the viewport, watching the last remnants of the cosmic ocean fade into the distance. Aryan joined her. "You think anyone will believe us?" Senka smiled faintly. "No." Aryan nodded. "Good." Mara approached. "Reactor stable. We can jump in an hour." Lyra entered the bridge, her expression calm. "We survived something no one has ever seen," she said. "Something no one will ever see again." Senka nodded. "But we remember." Lyra looked out at the stars. "The ocean between stars," she said, "and the Leviathan who swam in it." The ship turned toward the distant glow of familiar constellations. The stars did not move, but the crew did, together, into whatever came next. This is the end of the sci-fi story, The Ocean Between Stars. Leave a like if you enjoyed the story, and subscribe for more sci-fi stories. Thanks for listening.